So if you're from a different period, you've probably never seen me record. But anyway, here's what we're doing today. We're going to just do a few notes talking about those concepts that we did yesterday, where you have to classify triangles by two names. So we're going to look at those methods. I'm going to show you a couple things that you need to be aware of, a couple properties that we'll see later. We'll actually get a formal theorem on them, but I want to introduce them early so that way you can actually classify triangles in a couple different manners. So we'll kind of look at that. So that's what we're looking at today. Remember, I kind of kept this up here from yesterday. The reason why, I want to remind you of how you name triangles. When they name triangles, they use the little picture of the symbol of the triangle, so they draw a little mock picture. Then they use the three letters, the vertices in the corners. Notice they're not using numbers. They use the letters. You have to start at one letter and then spin around. You might have to do that on the assignment we're going to have possibly tomorrow. Remember, today's kind of in-class activity is just a question of the day. It's one of the driving questions we're going to use for conversation today. So I'm gonna give you a Google question of the day. There's actually two of them today, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time in class to look at them, and then we're going to look at the answers before you walk out the door. Does that make sense? So you get to see it. You're going to still submit it. You're going to get points for participation. But I think it's kind of a good way to just get you to kind of look at some triangles, name some of the classifications, and then at the very end we'll go through the answers to see if you're right or wrong. It didn't matter if you're wrong, you're going to get points for it anyway. So you might as well try. So it's pretty good. We're going to look at that today. But again, tomorrow's activity is where we're going to do a little more algebra. So today is kind of an intro just to the vocab, get you used to those words we talked about yesterday, and then tomorrow's stuff will be more algebraic. Now I know tomorrow we're on the 2-hour early out dismissal. It's a Wednesday, so it's going to be a very, very short class. I'll do a select few notes, and then I'll turn you loose on homework. And that assignment will be due probably on Friday this week. It'll be a bigger assignment than we're used to. So, but again, it'll be on Google Classroom. Everything's on Google Classroom. If you have not accepted that invite yet, you should do that. I think I sent those out yesterday, like super early in the morning. Sorry, I was up really early. So again, accept that. If you accidentally click deny, just let me know and I'll get that link sent out to you again, just so you're aware of it. I'll invite you again one more time. I just think it's easier for, like, if you're in quarantine or you're coming back or maybe just homesick for any reason. It doesn't have to be for COVID or anything. It's just easy. You can zoom in. You can still participate, still submit your homework. One of the things I forgot to tell people is, like, if you're gone, if you're sick, if you're in quarantine, you're required to be on that Zoom. That's how I take attendance. So keep that in mind. If you talk to me ahead of time, I can get you kind of by that. If you watch the video and you answer the questions, you can get still counted present. I know some people did that last semester. Just there was something going on, so they let me know ahead of time, and so I got them marked present. So, but yeah, so just be aware of those little things. But tomorrow's like homework will be based on this stuff. What you're seeing here. Solve for x, set two walls equal to each other. So it's going to be the more in-depth stuff. We'll go through some algebra tomorrow, but that's what we're looking at for the assignment tomorrow, that type of stuff. Today is just vocab. Any questions before we get started? Now, I don't want to skip any questions now. Yesterday, did we go through the class outline for the semester? Did we do that yesterday? Went through, like, the book and all that? Okay, good. I like to do that at least once a semester. I didn't know if I did it for you guys. So good. All right, excellent. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about some of the triangles. So I just want to do a couple examples of what you're going to see today, and then I'll turn you loose in your Google question. Then we'll come back and we'll look at the answers right before the end of class today. So maybe the last 10 minutes we'll look at it. Okay, so you have a little bit of time, a little bit of downtime where you can just answer the questions and kind of relax, go through it. Okay, so the big thing is they're going to give you a couple pictures of triangles. So I'm just going to draw some, and they're going to be mixed together. So there's going to be like 3 or 4 triangles kind of connected. So something like this. So I'm going to try to do my best to draw this. Okay, and they're going to put different angles in the corners, something like this. And let's see. These are not going to be drawn to scale by any means, so I probably should pull that dot in a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so what you're looking at here, I'm just going to put 3 triangles. Let me put some letters up here. So let's say this is A, B, C, D, and E. All right. Okay, so they're going to give you a picture. They're going to be a bunch of triangles all physically connected to each other. They're all adjacent, right? That's adjacent means next to, physically touching. And they're sharing, the vertices. And off to the side, they're going to give you 3 letters. Just 3 letters kind of at random. So they'll say like triangle. So they draw a little mock picture and BEC. So then you have to go on the picture, find BEC, and then you have to tell me the classification of that triangle. Okay? So, which triangle, because there's 3 up there, which triangle is BEC? BEC, which one is it? There's left, middle, right. Which one? What do you got? Middle, right? So you can kind of see, just look at the letters. So it's this middle one. Here's B to E to C. Here it is. I'm just going to highlight it in this little weird pink purplish color. Okay, so that's the triangle we're looking at, the one right in the middle. And the idea is that now we're going to classify that triangle. And that's what the Google question of the day is. So I give you a bunch of these. So you have to kind of list them out. So you're going to have to say, okay, triangle number 1 is this. Triangle number 2 is this. Triangle number 3 is this. So when you look at that triangle, what type do you know it is for sure? So obviously, if we have angles marked here, we're probably using the angles. So what do you think?
Right.
It's a right triangle. It's a right triangle. Now, you don't have to put actually the word triangle, but I'm looking for like the word right. Okay, does that make sense what type of triangle it is? It has a right angle in it. It's pretty easy. It's supposed to be quick. They're not meant to be like super confusing or over the top. Just meant to be quick hitters. Just get used to the vocab words. Just so that way when we get to the later sections, you're not lost like, what does this word even mean? I keep seeing isosceles everywhere and I don't even know what it means. That type of thing. Okay? All right, we're going to come back to that one here in a second. Now, let's do another one. Let's pick a different triangle. Let's go with triangle ECD. So somebody else now. Thank you for those 2 volunteers. So, which triangle is ECD? Let's start there. Left, right, or left, middle, or right?
Right.
The right one, right? It's way over here. I'm going to highlight it here in yellow. So here's ECD. The one on the right side. Okay, thank you. Now, could be anyone. What type of triangle is it by its angles? So remember, you have a couple options. Acute, right, obtuse, or equiangular. So what do we think?
Obtuse.
It's obtuse. Again, obtuse means one of the angles is larger than 90 degrees. So it's an obtuse triangle. Okay, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And obviously we have our last one. So that one's on the left side, ABE. Okay, somebody else now. Thank you for those volunteers so far. What type of triangle is ABE? What do you guys think? Please, Candace.
Equiangular?
Say it again?
Equiangular?
Yeah, it's equiangular. That's good. There's another word we could use. That's good. I'm going to put that one down. So it's equiangular because all the angles are the same. So again, that's this triangle over here, ABE. So good. Good word. And there's one more word we can call it. Please, anyone. Acute. And we're going to get to that. We're going to come back to that here in a second. I'm going to go with the first word I heard, acute. It is acute. All the angles are less than 90, right? 60, 60, and 60. So good word usage. You have to use as many words as that you know is true. So I like the fact that you said acute, and we're going to come back to this idea of equilateral. Okay? All right. Questions on how we name them by their angles, though. That was all angles so far. Okay, now again, the words for their angles, we're going to come back to this picture. I'm not done with it yet. All right, so the words for the angles. Here it is. Oop, I should get that out of the way. Acute, right, obtuse, and then equiangular is that last one where all the angles are the same. So you guys did a really nice job kind of figuring those out. Now, again, apologies, the pictures you're going to see today are not drawn to scale. So just like that one with the 100 degrees, that 100 degrees was not drawn correctly, because 100 degrees should probably look like this blue triangle here at the bottom. It should have an obtuse angle. I didn't really draw that. You have to just trust the numbers I have. Okay. All right. Okay, questions with the angles. Okay, now, we're going to go back to that drawing a little bit ago, because there's something we need to talk about. There's a property that we're going to see. We're going to eventually get a theorem about it, but for right now, I'm just going to give you the heads up, and we're going to use that fact here in this assignment, in this question of the day today. We're going to also name those three triangles we just did using these words. Now, what you're thinking is that you looked at the pictures a little bit ago, and you're like, well, they didn't have any markings on any of them. They just had angles. By knowing the angles, I can tell you the side lengths. And that's a weird concept. That's one of the theorems we're going to get in the later sections when we start talking about angles and walls and how they're related. So, scalene, what does that mean again? Let's talk about these words before we go back to that drawing. What does scalene mean?
All sides are different.
All sides are different. All three walls are different lengths. That's why they have three different markers. That was good. What does isosceles mean? Somebody else now. Please.
Only two walls are the same.
Two walls are the same. Any two. It doesn't matter. I just drew them with the two like from yesterday. And equilateral?
All walls are the same.
All sides are the same. Okay. So that's the review. Now, let's go back to that drawing I just had a little bit ago. Here's my drawing from originally, right? The original picture that we have, okay? Oop. There we go. Okay, so the original drawing. Now, I know I just have the angles marked here. I know that. The angles tell you what the walls are. So, I'm going to go with, Skylar, what you were saying earlier, okay? What did you say about that green triangle again?
Equilateral.
It was equilateral, and you're absolutely correct. Now, here's how we know that. And this is something that you're going to get used to when you get familiar with all these properties. This triangle right here is also equilateral. That means all the walls are the same. Even though you're looking at the picture and you're like, Ward, the walls aren't even marked the same. So, here's how. Here's why. If you have a picture, a triangle specific, it has to be a triangle, nothing else. If you have a triangle where two or more of the angles are the same, right? Where in this case, I have all three angles being the same on this last one. This angle, and this angle. If the angles are the same, the walls have to be the same. That's how triangles work. The angles directly are in proportion to what the wall lengths are. So if the angles are the same, the walls across from them are the same. So this wall across from 60 would be the same as the wall across from this 60, across from this 60. The opposite walls are in direct proportion with each other. Okay, and that's where we're going to see trig functions and all those things in chapter 8. But that's something you need to know. If the angles are the same, the walls are the same. And since all three match, all three walls have to match, so it's equilateral. So that was really good that you knew that. Okay, okay, questions with that property? We'll get the theorem number later. That comes up in the later sections. Okay, so let me get rid of that. Arrows here. Okay, so if the angles match, the walls match. So let's go back to this triangle over here. Okay, let me use a different color here. Okay, let's go to this triangle. We're going to the middle one here, E, C, and D. Look at all three angles there. What can you tell me about those three angles? 30, 50, and 100. They're all different. So what can you tell me about the walls?
Scalene.
It's scalene. All three walls have to be different as well. If the angles are different, the walls are different. So it's automatically scalene as well. That's something that a lot of people don't know. That only applies to triangles. You can do this little rule. So if you know that the triangle is scalene, you also know that the angles are all different. Now you can't tell if it's obtuse, right, or acute, but you can at least tell that the angles are different. So that might be helpful. Okay, so that's good. Good calls on all of these so far. And the last one. Let's see. Let's go to this kind of bluish color. So this last one, this right triangle, that's this one here in the middle. Okay, so the triangle in the middle. Look at these angles. So we have a 45, a 90, and a 45. What can you tell me about that triangle? So, please.
Isosceles.
It's isosceles. It's automatically isosceles. Again, isosceles means two walls have to be the same. I should spell it correctly. It's isosceles. Now, here's how we know. Isosceles means two walls are the same. It's because the two angles matched. The two 45s matched. So the walls that are across from the 45s, the walls that are directly across from them, those walls have to match. So this picture should have had markers like that. That's what should have happened. All right. Questions at all about this drawing and how I can name my triangles as best I can? Okay, now sometimes you're not able to name it, by angles, because maybe they don't tell you the angles in the corners. Maybe you have to just trust what the drawing's showing you, that type of thing. So, so just be aware, read the directions, all that. Do you guys think you could try a couple problems up by yourself right now? Okay, I sent out, so you're gonna need your Chromebooks, and if you don't have one, you're gonna have to borrow somebody's. I have a couple loaners if you need one. Log into Google Classroom right now. Even for those at home, you can do this. I sent out 2 questions of the day. So what I'd like you to do is open up the picture, look at the picture. Hopefully you can open that picture and kind of look at it. If not, I'll have to send you a link to it. But you're going to open up the picture and you're going to name the triangles that are in that picture. So I have them listed off to the side. So like triangle, ABC or triangle EBD, and I have a couple triangles per picture. And you have to tell me the classification of it. So you have to type it. So in your question, in your box where you're going to answer, you're going to say triangle EBD is this. Triangle CBD is this. And you list them out. You can just put them all in a big line. Just put commas between them. Kind of like what I'm doing here. Okay, questions with what you're doing. There's 2 questions of the day. I want you to try both. So take the next 15 minutes to try this out. I'm giving you about 15 minutes. And you're going to submit these to me. I'll leave this on the board because this actually looks a lot like the first couple that you have. As you're doing that, I want to hand back some papers. I forgot to hand these back yesterday. These are yours to keep. You don't need to turn them back in. You can take them home, put them on your refrigerator. Period 5 kids from last period 5 from last semester. You guys will probably get more papers. I forgot to hand back papers the last week of the semester, so you guys are going to get a bunch of papers back here. So apologies right now. It's going to seem a little excessive. Exactly. Here we go. I haven't charged last time. Last time someone used them. start that. Oh, third time's a charm. I'll charge that one right now, just so it's ready to go. You were giving me. I got a third one. Well, fourth time's a charm. Oh, like a sick joke. Got one more chance here. I'm gonna have to give you a power cord. You're gonna have to power cord against the back wall. Yeah? Yeah, I finally found one. Yeah, period 5, sorry you guys getting a bunch of papers. I was gonna hand back papers that last week of the semester and totally forgot. Space man, everyone else got their papers back. Just forgot everything you guys came in. Oh, down here.
It doesn't have the box on it, that means not rectangle.
Yeah, it would do it too much in that, right? There's a way to identify it, but we don't have that now, so yeah, you can't assume it's right. Okay, in that case, you won't be able to identify it. That's what we're talking about. Everyone else should have their papers back. Yeah, sorry, period 5. Period 5, and there's only one paper first than the others. I think it's just semester test for the other periods. You keep all those, you don't need to turn them in. So.
Is this your question of the day?
Yeah, both of them. Yep. Give me another 5-6 minutes.
connected to the internet.
That's odd.
That seems to be working. That's odd. What's that? Real quick before it like goes away. I don't know. Have you like turned off the switch and turned it back on? Yeah. Oh, that's really odd. All right, so here's what we'll do. If it comes back on, submit it. If not, write down like a little piece of paper, and what we'll do is I'll do my own version. I'll just check a little bit. So,
If it doesn't go back on, maybe it should. Yeah, a couple more minutes here before we'll go through the answers. Maybe 2-3 minutes, something like that. I don't know. I didn't give you 15, sorry. I want to at least have about 10 minutes to go through the answers here. I don't know if we'll need 10 minutes. Does anyone need more time on these? Okay, that's fine. I don't want to rush you. So. All right, not to rush anybody. Does anyone need more time? Okay, so here's what we'll do. You can close your Chromebooks. If you've already submitted, that's great. Close them out. Doesn't matter. Again, you're getting participation points for just having submitted this, so don't feel like it has to be right or wrong or anything like that. I just want you to try it. I mean, it's a good thing to just get some practice with this. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be perfect, so don't feel like you have to be. So, question?
Are you still, we didn't, but I have to rewrite the answers.
Okay, that's fine. Did you, just submit it later, so just close it.
I have studied.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Just do it then. So that'll work. Okay, so, ooh, I'm really blurry. Okay. Yeah, very blurry. Ooh, I don't like that. Okay. So, all right, I think I have them up here, right? Is this the first one? This is question number 1, correct? Or whatever one, maybe you clicked on a different one first. I don't know. There was 2 questions. So, so here it is. So it says C is the midpoint at the bottom, and E is the midpoint of DF. So there are certain walls that are matched up there, with, C being the midpoint here on this particular problem. That means this is also 4. It's the midpoint of B to D, and E being the midpoint of D to F, so this is also 5. Okay? So just be aware of that. This 8 can transfer over to here. The reason why, they have the same markers, so I can transfer the 8 over. Those are little things about like isosceles triangle you can recognize. You can transfer certain numbers around the picture. Okay, questions with my setup and how I filled in some of those numbers on that picture. Oh my goodness, it's not showing up. Oh no. Oh, well, we might have to go. If this can save, we'll